Hello everyone! Today we will continue visiting some farms in the United States to see how farmers harvest thousands of tons of agricultural products. The first location we will visit is a bell pepper farm in California's Central Valley. The Central Valley of California is one of the most important agricultural regions in the United States, supplying a large quantity of vegetables and fruits to the entire country. Among them, bell peppers, Capsicum annuum, are one of the most commonly grown crops due to the warm climate, fertile soil, and advanced irrigation systems. With thousands of acres dedicated to bell pepper cultivation, this region plays a crucial role in supplying peppers to both domestic and export markets. As we know, workers in this industry are paid around $17.50 per hour. Each year, the US produces approximately 1.6 billion pounds of bell peppers. However, to meet domestic demand, the US still has to import about 0.5 billion pounds of bell peppers annually. Before planting, farmland must be carefully prepared to ensure optimal growing conditions, including plowing the soil, creating raised beds, and covering them with plastic mulch. The most common method of growing bell peppers in the Central Valley is by using seedlings, as they allow for uniform plant development and increased yields. Seeds are sown in nursery trays 6 to 8 weeks before being transplanted into the fields. When the seedlings reach a height of 15 to 20 centimeters, 6 to 8 inches, they are transplanted into rows with a spacing of 30 to 40 centimeters, 12 to 16 inches, between plants and 70 to 90 centimeters, 28 to 35 inches, between rows. After transplanting, a drip irrigation system is commonly used to deliver water directly to the roots without oversaturating the soil. Additionally, pruning plays an essential role in plant management. Workers remove unnecessary branches to improve air circulation, reduce pests and diseases, and allow the plant to focus nutrients on fruit production. The harvesting time for bell peppers depends on the variety and intended use. On average, bell peppers are ready for harvest 75 to 90 days after planting. The harvesting process is usually done manually to prevent damage to the fruit. Workers use sharp scissors or knives to cut the stems while ensuring the fruit remains intact. Each day, hundreds of workers harvest tons of bell peppers from the fields, with yields reaching 30,000 to 40,000 pounds, 13,600 to 18,100 kilograms per acre. After harvesting, the peppers are transported to processing facilities where they are washed with clean water or a mild sanitizing solution to remove dirt and bacteria. The peppers are then packed and distributed to markets. The second location featured in this video is a potato farm in Washington State, USA. Currently, approximately 943,000 acres of land in the United States are dedicated to potato farming. Idaho is the state with the largest potato growing area, followed by North Dakota, Wisconsin, and Colorado. According to data released by the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, in 2021, the total potato production in the country exceeded 21.3 million tons. Potatoes are one of the most important crops in the US, contributing significantly to the nation's agricultural economy. The planting process begins in early spring, with seed potatoes planted at a depth of 7 to 10 centimeters, spaced 75 to 90 centimeters apart between rows and 25 to 30 centimeters apart within rows, 10 to 12 inches between plants in a row. Throughout the growing season, irrigation is carefully managed using modern systems such as drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation. Farmers continuously monitor soil moisture levels and adjust water supply to prevent overwatering or drought stress. The harvesting time depends on the variety and intended use. Generally, when the potato plants start turning yellow and wilting, it is a sign that the tubers have reached the desired size and quality. Farmers usually take sample tubers to assess maturity before making a final decision on when to harvest. Harvesting is carried out using modern machinery to ensure efficiency and minimize damage to the tubers. Potato harvesters are designed to gently dig up the soil, separate the potatoes, and transfer them onto conveyor belts where excess dirt and debris are removed. After harvesting, potatoes are sorted based on size, shape, and quality. Market-grade potatoes are transported to processing facilities or stored in temperature-controlled warehouses to maintain freshness. Freshly harvested potatoes are washed to remove soil and impurities before being peeled and cut into different shapes depending on their intended use, such as thin slices, sticks, or cubes. After processing, the potatoes are packaged and distributed. Next, we will visit a peanut farm in Texas to see how the harvesting process is conducted. Peanuts, Asparagus hypergaea, also known as groundnuts, are one of the key crops in the United States, particularly in Texas. With its warm climate and fertile soil, Texas is one of the largest peanut-producing states in the country. Currently, the total peanut farming area in the US is approximately 1.59 million acres, with Texas ranking among the top peanut-growing states. The peanut farming process begins with soil preparation. After testing the soil, farmers clear weeds and other debris. The land is then plowed to loosen the soil, allowing peanut roots to develop more easily. Peanuts are typically planted in the spring when soil temperatures reach about 18 to 21 degrees Celsius or 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The planting season usually starts from mid-April to June. Farmers sow peanut seeds directly into the soil, with row spacing typically 90 to 120 centimeters, 35 to 47 inches apart, while plant spacing within the row is around 20 to 30 centimeters, 8 to 12 inches, to ensure adequate growing space. In addition, pruning is an essential step in peanut cultivation. Farmers remove old, damaged, or diseased leaves to promote healthy plant growth. Peanuts have a unique growth process in which the plant flowers above ground, but the fruit develops underground. After the plant blooms, the flowers undergo pollination and begin to form pods. This process typically occurs between June and August. Peanuts are capable of self-pollination, but they can also cross-pollinate with other plants. Once pollination occurs, the flower stems elongate and grow downward into the soil, where the peanut pods develop. The peanut harvest season in Texas usually takes place between September and November, when the leaves and stems of the plant turn yellow. The harvesting process is typically carried out using specialized machinery. Farmers use peanut harvesters to cut the plants from the soil. These machines lift the plants, shake off excess dirt, and expose the peanuts to dry. Once the peanuts have sufficiently dried, another machine is used to separate the peanuts from the pods. After harvesting, peanuts are loaded into containers or trucks and transported to processing facilities. At the processing plant, the peanuts go through additional cleaning steps to remove dirt and impurities. Once cleaned, they are sorted by size and quality before being packaged and distributed. Now, let's take a look at an asparagus farm in Michigan, USA. Michigan is one of the leading states in asparagus production, contributing over 20 million pounds, approximately 9,000 metric tons, of asparagus each year. In total, about 25,000 acres of farmland across the United States are dedicated to asparagus cultivation, with an estimated industry value of $98 million. Asparagus is typically planted in early April during the spring season. Farmers can either sow seeds directly into the soil or transplant pre-grown seedlings. As the asparagus plants begin to develop, farmers care for them by providing consistent irrigation, applying fertilizers, and implementing pest control measures. Additionally, pruning is an important part of the asparagus maintenance process. Farmers remove old, damaged, or diseased leaves to promote healthier plant growth. Asparagus has a distinctive growth cycle in which young spears emerge from the ground and later develop flowers and seeds. Once the plant flowers, the blossoms undergo pollination and produce fruit. This process generally occurs between June and August. Asparagus plants can self-pollinate but are also capable of cross-pollination. After pollination, the flower stems develop into seed pods, which contain asparagus seeds. The asparagus harvest season in Michigan typically begins in late April and lasts until the end of June, depending on weather conditions and plant growth. Asparagus is a perennial crop, meaning it can be harvested annually for up to 10 to 15 years after planting. During the harvesting period, workers must closely monitor the growth rate of the asparagus spears, as they can grow very quickly, sometimes up to 5 centimeters per day under ideal conditions. Because of this rapid growth, asparagus must be harvested daily to ensure that the spears are cut at the correct length, typically between 18 and 23 centimeters, 7 to 9 inches. Unlike many other crops, asparagus cannot be harvested on a large scale using machinery due to its delicate stems and uneven sprouting. As a result, harvesting is primarily done by hand. Workers use specialized knives to cut the asparagus spears just above the ground, ensuring that the plant continues to grow and produce new shoots throughout the season. Some farms use specialized harvesting carts, where workers lie face down on a slow-moving platform that moves along the asparagus rows. This method reduces physical strain compared to standing manual harvesting and also improves efficiency. After harvesting, asparagus is placed in crates or baskets and quickly transported to processing facilities to maintain its freshness. Since asparagus wilts and loses quality quickly after being harvested, it must be cooled immediately. The most common cooling method used in Michigan is hydrocooling, in which asparagus is submerged in ice-cold water to rapidly lower its temperature and extend its shelf life. Once cooled, asparagus is sorted based on thickness and quality. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA standards, asparagus is classified into different grades, with extra fancy and fancy being the highest quality categories. We will visit a Red Delicious apple farm in Washington to see how apples are harvested here. Many farms in the state use drip irrigation systems to conserve water and ensure that tree roots absorb moisture efficiently. To maintain apple quality and size, trees must be pruned regularly. Pruning removes old or weak branches, increases sunlight exposure and airflow, and reduces the risk of pests and diseases. Additionally, fruit thinning is an important process. When apple trees begin to bear fruit, farmers remove smaller apples or those growing too close together, leaving only the ones with the best growth potential. The apple harvest season in Washington typically begins in late August and lasts until late November. During this period, hundreds of workers arrive at Washington apple farms to help with harvesting. Red Delicious is considered one of the finest apple varieties in the world and is exported to many countries. Most apples in Washington are hand-picked to prevent bruising or damage. Workers wear gloves and use chest-mounted picking bags to gently place apples inside, avoiding drops or rough handling. Each worker can pick 900 to 1,200 kilograms, 2,000 to 2,600 pounds of apples per day. After being picked, apples are placed into large bins and immediately transported to storage facilities. They then enter processing lines, where they are washed to remove dirt, leaves, and small branches. Next, apples are sorted based on size, color, and quality before being packed into cardboard boxes or plastic bags and shipped to domestic and international markets. Now, let's take a look at a sweet potato farm in North Carolina. Before harvest, farmers stop watering the crops for about a week to allow the sweet potatoes to develop a thicker skin, reducing damage during harvesting. Sweet potatoes can be harvested by hand or using specialized digging machines. Sweet potato harvesters gently lift the soil and expose the roots so workers can collect them. On small-scale farms or farms that require high-quality sweet potatoes, manual harvesting is preferred to avoid damaging the roots. Workers use hose or specialized tools to dig and gather sweet potatoes into containers. After harvesting, sweet potatoes are sorted based on size and quality before being sent to processing facilities for packaging and distribution to the market. What are your thoughts on the harvesting process of these crops featured in our video? Let us know in the comments section. Goodbye, and stay tuned for more exciting content in our next video.